Jared Goff.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that, the people who put him and who empowered him here, Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, they all stated Jared Goff can make any throw we'd ask him to. And then I remember after a year or two, they changed that statement and they said that Jared Goff can make any throw. That's just where they left it. And since that time, we've seen him go and do the things that people say he can't do. He can't play outside, is what we heard. He can't throw the deep balls, what we heard. He's a little off with some of his timing or some of his rhythms or hitting those kind of blind throws. All we've seen from Jared Goff is him come here and knock each one of those targets down to the point that he did wind up top 5 in MVP voting last year and in the conversation because of the things that you're talking about. And that's why I say, like, every year there's always these other quarterbacks that people think are just, that's the guy that's going to finally overtake Jared Goff by the end of the year. He finds himself always in that top 5 to top 7 conversation.
What's his reputation? What do you think his reputation is?
I think his reputation is a Detroiter now because he played 69 games for the Los Angeles Rams. Well, this will be his 70th game coming up for the Detroit Lions, so he'll be a complete Detroiter after this game this week. So shout out to my boy buffed up Jared Goff. I think his reputation it's corny, but it's a survivor. It's grit. It's everything that Detroit signed up for, and they started in 2021 when he got here. He dialed into that. Mm-hmm. He dialed into what the team was. He dialed into what Dan Campbell was. He dialed into what people thought about him. He dialed into what the narratives were. All right, this is who they perceive me to be. I'm just going to go out there and show them I'm something different. Just think about the journey from how it was handled with L.A., how Sean McVay, the Cabo trip, the middle of the night, played him, sent him here to Detroit, kind of sent him out the pasture. Detroit is an out-to-pasture type of town at that time. He sent them out to pasture, but he survived. He survived this thing with Dan Campbell, this new team, this new regime, and now we're at the point where you're talking about him finishing 5th in the MVP last year. That wouldn't have been the case. That wouldn't have been a thought process of mine in 2021 or 2020 or 2019, how it was going for him. But he survived that and put himself in a position where he's the most efficient quarterback over the last 3 years. He has the second most touchdown pass in the last 3 years, only behind Baker Mayfield, which is another guy.
More yards than anybody else.
He has more yards than anybody, and he's become the leader of this team. He's the leader. When you listen to him talk now, he's not the guy at the podium that you can barely hear when he first got here, kind of not mumbling, but just talking very slow. Well, we went out there and we got it done today. That's not him anymore. The voice is different. The chest is poked out a little bit. He's a little bit feisty. And what did he say the other week? He said, you got any more questions about the offense? You got any more questions about the coordinators?
Yeah.
He's feisty now.
Yeah.
That's Detroit. That's that chip.
I do like that. I do like that about him.
That's a different guy from L.A., Surfer Jared, that went to Cal, played for Sean McVay.
Yeah.
Now he's a Detroiter. He wears buffs. He says his coat isn't as big anymore.
When you have other athletes.
In the wintertime,
look,
which means his bones are
all you guys are type A,
settling
which I respect and I love about it. I do. It takes a lot for someone to get a type A leader to follow them. Yeah. And I think he has been able to build that through his play and dedication and communication and leadership skills with some of his other teammates. And I don't think enough is said about that. Yeah. But I think part of his reputation, and I think it's wrong, but part of his reputation in Detroit is that he doesn't have a strong arm. And I would strongly disagree with that. I think he does.
Strong arms aren't about can you throw the ball as far as Josh Allen on the knee, or can you throw the ball like they call, I hate the term bust, but Jamarcus Russell, who can be on the knee and throw the ball 80 yards. Yes, that's a different type of arm. That's a ridiculously strong arm. Matt Stafford has one of those arms, whether you like him or not.
Joe Milton's got one of those arms.
Yeah. Joe Milton had he's nuclear. Yeah. He's got a nuke.
Yeah.
It goes back to anticipation. He has more than enough arm for Jameson Williams, who runs low 4.3, but it's about anticipation. It's about figuring out the wide receiver. And as now J-Mo's in year 4, he knows him. He knows him to the point where you saw that pass that J-Mo missed. That pass was dropped on the bucket. Now, J-Mo looked the wrong way. Initially, he should have looked on your outside because the ball should come on your outside shoulder. This is what you should do, neither here nor there. But he got that ball out there.
Yeah.
And that's not the first time. He gets the ball out there. He knows J-Mo now. He knows the speed of his wide receivers. He's got the arm to do the things that he needs to do. He's legit. And also, he's everything you want to be. Like players when guys are A-type, you watch from afar. He said, let me watch. Because if he's not coming in with the rah-rah and he's smooth and going and hanging out and he's the guy and also a good player, let me watch him. Mm-hmm. Is he tough? I don't remember Jared Goff missing many games.
Right.
In fact, I remember him playing through an ankle injury that no one knew was that bad.
He did.
Like, I remember that last season. Like, Jared
Titans.
Goff, is he going to be there for you in the bad games and the good games? Every time Jared Goff has a bad game, he's at the press conference. He's at the podium. He's having conversations. He's saying, I got to be better.
Yeah.
This one's on me. He does.
Most quarterbacks are, don't you think? Or am I wrong there?
No, most quarterbacks aren't that. Most quarterbacks find a way to, not most quarterbacks, a lot of quarterbacks find a way to shift narrative or shift blame, or they just do kind of like we got to be better. Okay. We got to be better. Not I got to be better. Not I missed that pass. They don't point out what they did wrong.
Gotcha.
They may just say a very very vanilla term. Yeah, I got to be better. What do you have to be better at? What did you do that was bad? Yeah. They won't tell you that. Jared Goff will go there and say, hey, look, on that interception, man, I'm doing too much. I'm out here looking for the hero ball. I got guys open in the flats. That's what you did wrong. That's a different type of onus. That's somebody, because I can get better with him. And every time I see him at the facility, he's studying, he's getting better. When everybody was trying to say things were going off the rail, guaranteed Jared Goff was dialed in all week after they lost to the Green Bay Packers, which is somebody that you can point to, somebody that you can look at. Now you brought me in. Now I want to rock with you. Now I'm going to go ride for you because I believe you'll ride for me.
Yeah, I love that.
That's a great point, Braylon, because you got to think about it. They still haven't lost back-to-back games now in over 2.5 seasons.
Right.
And so your quarterback has to be dialed in after a loss to get there. But I do wonder, and I do believe a lot of this has to do with coaching, not just the talent, not just what's between the ears for Jared Goff, because that plays a big part of it. But Dan Campbell is also somebody who will step to the podium and say where he messed up. Say what his mistakes are. Say where he needs to get better. Even after the first week, they went and said, these things are correctable. We looked at them. We saw them. We're going to get right after it. And I do wonder how much that maturation, your coach leading from that charge,
it's called
helps
accountability.
a player like that.
Yeah, it's called accountability. Look, you and I were at the Pistons press conference yesterday, and that's exactly what they were talking about.
Oh, you were cheating
exactly.
I was cheating on
I was. I was cheating on all of you. It was accountability.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, and that's a big word in society today, not just sports, but a big word in society. How are you holding people accountable for what they should be doing or what they're paid to do? And I think that's an excellent point on your part regarding Jared Goff. He seems like he's very accountable.
I always take a little bit from Dan Campbell after games, too. Yeah, I keep going back to that Ben Johnson locker room, how I knew it was a fraud, man. Just when you watch Dan Campbell's locker room after wins, even after losses, you can pick up something. One of the things he said that I loved after this loss in the locker room, he said, okay, man, that isn't going to be good enough moving forward. Like, in the moment, last time they just won by 24. This is the NFL. They won by 24. This is 3 wins in a row. They're now sole possession. Well, they would have been later on that night. Sole possession of first place in the NFC North. Kings of North, they're back. And at the game, in the locker room, guys still got on helmets. Some guys still have them shoulder pads in jerseys. And he says, moving forward, this ain't going to be good enough. And I use ain't for a fact. That is letting your guys know in the moment, we won. But that wasn't good enough all the way around, whether it was offense in the third quarter, whether it was defense on the first drive, whether it was some moments here or there, where it was some players who had some moments, this isn't going to be good enough. He addressed it right then and there. That doesn't allow players to rest on their laurels. That's how you go 15-2.
I'll tell you, folks, we talked about it
Not
before.
that I'm saying they're going to go 15-2, but that's how you go 15-2.
Well, you're right. I mean, look, everybody said it. They're not going 15-2 because of how hard their schedule was. Remember, we said the second hardest schedule in the National Football League. How it turns out to be, I'm not sure. Just to give you an idea, and look, Cincinnati's lost Joe Burrow, so, I mean, they looked awful. I mean, Jake Browning looked like, his pants were on fire. He had no time whatsoever. Jamar Chase was upset, you could tell.
There's an effort factor that players have when you know it's a bad game.
Yeah.
T. Higgins and Jamar Chase were sitting next to each other with about 3 minutes left in the first quarter with that effort factor.
On their face or body language, both? What do you mean?
Everything. The way they were sitting next to each other, talking to each other, it was like, man, here we go again with this, man. I ain't going to do nothing. You're not probably going to do anything either. What you doing tonight? What's going on? What's up in the city? Like, they had that in the first quarter.
Yeah. It's a bad look.
Man, we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah. So they'll see them. And then it's at Kansas City.
Yeah.
And then it's home to the Buccaneers and Vikings. Just to give you an idea of how challenging that schedule is. Sometimes we look at it at the beginning of the season and we forget for a moment, and then we need to be reminded of just what a bear that schedule really is. Whether they have Joe Burrow or not, Zach Taylor and the Bengals are fighting for their football lives too this weekend.
Yeah, I told you Zach Taylor wouldn't be there the whole season. I told you he was one of mine that wouldn't make the season. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? He's not going to make the season. No. I will be very interested in the first half of not the game this week, but the game in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because the last 3 games, and this will be after you play the Bengals stink. I am expecting another 40-something to 13, another one of those. The Browns stunk. Defensive line really good, but there's only so much they can do, and eventually they were down. They did, and you saw what happened. And then the Bears stunk that game. When you play against the Chiefs, you're playing against a team that's getting better. You're playing against a team that will have a better sense of who they are by the time you play them. You're playing against a team that's got something going for themselves. They also have the best player, not named Myles Garrett. They go back and forth. Mahomes and Garrett. You got that guy. You got Andy Reid. They're starting to come into their own. And now they'll win this week. Backs not as against the wall, but still kind of against the wall in their division. I am looking forward to the first half. This isn't a worried conversation. No, this is just me saying I'm looking forward to that first quarter, first half of that Chiefs-Lions game, because that will be the first time the Lions, I think, play something of significance in a team, if you will.